Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. We got an exciting one here for you. We've got the enthusiastic Tom Santinello here. What is going on, Tom?
What's going on, Joe?
Tom, we are talking week 4 preview. We're going to go over all of the matchups in an exciting form, going over the spreads, the matchups, key questions. For example, Jefferson went off with the Vikings. Is that going to continue? We're going to look at trends. We're going to look at up-and-coming players, some fantasy spin as well. We're going to talk a little bit of fantasy football as well, but I mainly want to focus on the matchups, kind of offense versus defense, records, who's breaking out, who's emerging as the top team, some power rankings, a little bit of everything here on the show. I'm ready to roll, Tom. Are you?
I'm ready.
I'm bringing the heat, bringing the energy. Now, I need to bring the heat and energy, guys. By the way, leave your fantasy questions below. I'm going to answer some of them below, starts and sits questions below. I'll do my absolute best. But also, guys, smash that thumbs up. It really, really helps the channel. So make sure you guys do smash that thumbs up below. We really do appreciate it a lot. And also follow on Instagram below as well. I've linked Instagram below and Tom's podcast below as well. All right, Tom. So let's talk about it. We need the energy in. Denver versus the Jets. Listen, I'm not excited about this match at all. Apparently, I'm hearing in the news that Le'Veon Bell is coming back week 5. I see you're yawning here. I know it's not an exciting matchup. Listen, you got to wake up. This is not, we got to talk about it briefly.
Probably one of the worst matchups that they could have.
I mean, I don't know what they're thinking when they're setting these up. You got to know Jets were going to be a crappy team. You must have figured that out. You knew Drew Lock. We don't know what to expect out of him in a suspect. Why would you even set this up for a Thursday night? It seems like every Thursday night bores me. I don't know what to say. I mean, next week we got Bucks and Bears, which should be okay, and then Chiefs and Bills on the 15th. That'll be good. But and then look at this one, October 22nd. Oh my God, Giants and Eagles. So, I mean, what are they thinking, Tom?
I mean, I think they wanted to see Drew Lock. But they thought Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, it's got to give a lot of teams Thursday night games. Can't just make it all good matchups. And I don't know. I really don't know. This is a game you have to bet on if you want to watch.
So are you going Denver? They got the 2-point favorite here on this one.
I mean, I would never take the Jets. I just wouldn't. I don't. They look terrible. I mean, Frank Gordon is just horrible. The line's horrible. The defense is, and it's not even that horrible. They're not even playing hard. Like, at least in Washington, you see a little effort. You don't see any effort here. You see, it's just a horrible football team
all around. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I don't even know. When is Drew Lock? Have they said when Drew Lock is coming back? I haven't even looked into this.
Originally, like 2 to 6 weeks, which those spring AC joints, like usually 4 to 5 weeks. I think they're starting ripping this week, right? In Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, they already benched Driscoll. Driscoll wasn't horrible for what you thought, but they stink. I mean, they lost their one wide receiver. I told you with the rookie receivers, Judy looks okay. I like him. I think might be being the best rookie receiver, but he's still a rookie.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon, he's not, I never really liked Melvin Gordon. He's just an average back. So Noah Fant, make some plays over there. He can't block a lick, but I think Denver's defense is just, too good for the Jets. They lost a few players on defense too. It just sucks. Injuries suck, but Denver is just an overall better, talented and obviously coached team, I would say.
Yeah, this is a disaster of a matchup. And then losing Sutton, that was a huge loss. Then they lose. Who else they lose on defense? They lost
Miller. And
Miller. Miller.
One or two other players last week, right? I forgot who off the top of my head, but no, they just not looking good.
Disaster. I'm not going to, I keep saying I'm not going to be watching it, but it's kind of interesting to watch these matchups because, again, you get to focus on and learn other players, even though the teams suck. You get to focus because I would never watch a Jets game during prime time. So at least it forces us to watch these crappy teams, right?
I mean, I guess so.
All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Sunday games here. There is a couple exciting ones at the end. We're going to give you guys let's give them one lock of the week that we really like that we think is kind of almost guaranteed. I did pretty well. I think I nailed like 3 or 4 out of the 5 spreads I had last week that I was really feeling good about. Felt really good about. I think it was Detroit was one of the teams I felt good about. I think they covered. Anyway, I can't remember. I'm so focused on this week right now. But listen, Colts and the Bears here. This one should be interesting. I think the Colts will push the Bears. Bears 3-0, and I don't even know if that's a real 3-0, a deserving 3-0 that they deserve here, man. Are they for real, the Bears? Because I'm not sold yet.
I mean, they have a decent team, decent defense. I told you before, watch for Anthony Miller to step up. I know some people laugh, but he obviously, I told you he could overtake Robinson, and he's got some talent. I just think I don't think Foles is a great quarterback. I think he's that guy that comes in as a backup and wins some games. But he every time he's got a chance to be the full on starter, he usually hasn't produced up to what people thought. When they signed him, going back to when he was at the Rams and stuff. So I think they'll be okay with that team and mediocrity, 7-9, 9-7, something like that.
Yeah,
but they're not one of the elite teams.
But I'm still seeing Robinson in week 3 actually had 13 targets compared to the 5 Anthony Miller. So Robinson's still the one there, clearly.
But Miller makes some plays. To me, he makes a few plays. I know I like the kid's talent. I've liked it since he was in Memphis, and a lot of people like it there. But they have a mess of an offense, as you know, a mess of a coaching strategy. I like Anthony Miller there. I think that'll be Foles' guy. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I can't count on the Bears.
Yeah, Indy's a mess too. I mean, who are they throwing the ball to? Pittman's going to be out for a bit. He's injured. Campbell got hurt. I mean, Hilton's not doing anything. I don't know what's going on with that receiving core there. I really don't.
Yeah, but we said that at the beginning. Remember, we always say they don't have any breakaway players. They don't have, and I told you it's hard to count on rookies. Number one, especially where there's no offseason. But and you cannot count on Phillip Rivers to just sling it and win it. I don't think he has it in him anymore. I think you have to get the running game involved, and you have to spread the ball around and make the throws when you have to. They don't have, Mo Alley Cox, so he made another touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know how he's getting the ball. Doyle's been out, so it's been Mo Alley Cox show, which is really weird.
Get it?
He's not even a pass catching tight end. Like, I don't understand how he's getting it.
Likes his tight ends. He's always has. We'll see. Maybe they'll get Hines involved again.
So this one, we got Colts at 3. Is that a fair line there? I think it is. I mean,
I think on the road, I think it should be a little less, but I think they crushed the Jets last week, but the Jets are horrible. But Indy has a good defense, a good old line. I think this is going to be a close game within a field goal.
Yep. I think so too. I mean, the Bears, on paper, they're at home, they're 3-0. Again, Vegas knows something that we don't. And again, that's what I'm saying. Are they for real? I'm not really sold on the Bears being for real. They lost Tariq Cohen, thank goodness. And people say don't praise injuries. I'm not praising injuries, but I'm talking from a reality point of view. The guy sucks. He sucks. I mean,
he's not.
They love him. They love him. They fucking love the guy.
Well, coaches fall in love with players. You know that. I've seen it for years. I can tell you 100 stories, which I'm not going to tell you any right now. But
good riddance. Get Montgomery on the field. Let's move on here. The Saints versus Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions now, they are the underdog here. 4-point underdog against the Saints, who haven't been doing too well as of late. Drew Brees getting a lot of criticism for his passing, a lot of short passes. Michael Thomas being out. Maybe that's a key factor. Although Alvin Kamara looking really good. The Lions, Galladay's back in. He got a little bit of work this past week. Going into week 4, I think this is going to be tighter than people think. I think the Lions are going to play hard there at home. My prediction is they cover the 4 points here. What do you think?
Yeah, I took the Lions last week. They went outright. I told you they're a better team than the way they've played. They should have won week 1. Week 2, the Packers just beat them, but the Packers are on fire. It was another thing you said, though, like the Saints, Vegas had them favored by 3 last week. They had the Ravens favored by 3. So it's too early in the season for even Vegas to get a real grip on the reality of things that are going on. Right. New Orleans defense played bad last week. And was it just, is Green Bay's offense that good this year? We're still learning things. Yeah. I think Detroit's a tough football team. I don't really love the whole Adrian Peterson thing. I think you got to go for it at some point. Just, give the rookie the ball over there, Swift. But yeah, I'm not loving the Saints. Kamara had a really nice game, and without him, they lose by a lot more. So they need him to play like that in order to be in the games every week.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be an entertaining one. I don't know if that's the one I'm looking forward to the most out of this week. There's a couple of good ones. There's a couple of blowouts we're going to talk about. I'm really excited about. Arizona versus Carolina. Now, here's the deal. Arizona 2-1, coming back down to reality with a loss, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Is Carolina going to be able to stand tall with these guys? They're just one of those like tooth and nail, grind out wins kind of team. Now, Davis did okay in that week. Robbie Anderson was going up against a tough secondary. They were playing the Bolts and the Chargers. If they can put up 21 points against the Chargers, that looks promising if they're going up against Arizona, correct?
I don't know. I mean, Arizona doesn't have a good defense, and I told you watch for them. To I didn't love. I told you at 2-0. I didn't like them. I still don't. I think they're 8-8, all written all over them. But Carolina is not a good defense at all. Arizona should win this team. Carolina doesn't even have a good offense. They throw the ball here, and they'll taking shots, throwing the ball, but they don't put points on the board. They should have done better last week. Bridgewater's an average quarterback. And I told you I don't like the head coach over there. I think he's a rookie head coach coming from college. Doesn't work out a lot. I don't. People love him. I don't see it in Carolina right now. I don't see depth. I don't see promise. They got a couple good young guys on defense, but they just their talent is just not there. And Arizona is more talented, and they should win this game. By about a touchdown, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah, they're 3.5-point favorite. Moving on.
Drake, he hasn't produced all year either.
I hate Drake. I can't stand that guy.
And it's like you see the roster, and I'm going to say this one more time before we move on. You see a lot of bad rosters right now because there's a lot of injuries. So you see what really GMs have done and have not done, how there's no depth on some of these teams.
Right.
And you see it, I could go down the list and name a bunch of teams, but just want to point that out.
All right, moving on here. This is another boring one. We're getting to some exciting ones. There's a couple teams I really want to talk about, the Texans and the Vikings. I want to talk about that one, and Steelers and Titans. There's a couple other good ones, but another boring one, Jacksonville versus the Bengals. I know you like the chew. They haven't been looking that good. Burrow now gravitating towards T. Higgins. T. Higgins having like a breakout game. A guy that I kind of stashed on my bench in one of my deeper leagues. I'm like, yeah, there's some breakout. He's a wiry, good red zone target. Cincinnati 3-point favorite here at home. I don't know, man. I don't know if Chark is coming back that game. I haven't looked at the injury. I think he should be back, right? I don't know.
I didn't see anything yet.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think of this game? I
like Higgins. We said it before. He's probably going to be the one there eventually. AJ Green is the one, but he is not playing like the one.
No.
He's not playing well. The separation. He's not getting a lot of separation. I just watch him play, talk to some people around the league. He's just not the same. The Bengals O-line stinks. That's a problem.
Right.
That's a big problem over there. And I think that's part of the reason why Mixon hasn't really had a lot of success either. And I know they're throwing the ball a lot. The Bengals are a tough team. They're going to be in the games. And actually, I never really like to watch the Bengals, but I like watching Burrow. I enjoy watching him play football and learning. And he's going to be good.
Yep.
But Minshew, I think, is the real. I like him. They dropped a bomb last Thursday night against Miami, which really sucked. But they played the first two games. They got a 1-1, and they were in both games. But it's just, I don't know, kind of sucks over there. The running back over there is playing good, the undrafted rookie in Jacksonville. So I think this is going to be a good football game.
I think it's going to be all right. I'm not too excited about it. Burrow, I'm excited to watch and see what he's up to, right? That's the thing. This is going to be a good one, which I think the record on this game is crazy. Dallas versus Cleveland. Dallas at home. They're a 5-point favorite. This one's interesting because we keep seeing the Nick Chubb show and Kareem Hunt. Even though Nick Chubb is doing well, Kareem Hunt is dipping into that volume. I don't care what you say. He took 14 points away from him last week, I believe. When you look at this, 2-1 Browns, 1-2 Dallas. I would say Dallas should smash them at home. Talent-wise, I think they're a better team. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think I said this at some point before. Remember we went over the Packers and how they've changed their offense to run the ball a little more. Yeah. When Mike McCarthy was there, they were in the bottom half, the bottom 5 of rushing attempts. He's got one of the top, 3 probably running backs in the NFL right now, and he doesn't not running the ball a lot. And they're getting into these shootouts, and their defense isn't good. Now people are saying, all right, should we have signed Amari Cooper with all these weapons? Maybe they should have re-signed the corner, Byron Jones, that went to Miami. But I know he got a little overpaid over there. But they don't have a good secondary. They don't have a good defense. And they're getting into these shootouts. The Browns is a team that can probably throw, I don't know. They're going to try to control the ball with Chubb. I told you I've liked Chubb from the beginning. You don't like him. And I don't know, man. I don't think Dallas. I don't know with Cleveland. We don't know who they are yet. They beat 2 bad teams. They got crushed by the Ravens. Are they an 8-8 team that's going to beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams? Are the Cowboys, they're in the NFC East? This is a game where we start to learn more stuff about these teams, right?
Okay, so Dallas is now, they threw a lot. They threw it to this guy named Cedric Wilson, who nobody really knows about. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 2 touchdowns. outdoing the other players in fantasy points. I had a Gallup, Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. Like, he is a fourth string guy getting the ball. So that's got to piss off a lot of Dallas guys. And that's why I kind of stayed away from this receiving core. I thought 3 was a problem. Now you got the fourth guy, not to mention rushing the ball. They only rushed it 14 attempts. Yeah. Still, they got Zeke there, not rushing the ball like they should. But again, that's what McCarthy does, right? He throws the ball.
Throws the ball. And I just, I don't know why they went with him a head coach. And listen, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but I'm curious to see how the Browns, take this momentum. They've won 2 in a row now. Dallas has been in 2 shootouts, got lucky with the onside kick against Atlanta. And then this past week, they had a chance to win it at the end. I'm not to tie it, I believe. And then they didn't, but you can't get yourself in those situations. Dallas doesn't look like a good football. If you get into yourself in those situations, I don't know. They're either going to fix the defense and they're going to win a lot of games, or it's going to go the other way. I don't know. It doesn't look, I'm not like, if I was a Dallas fan, I wouldn't really be too happy right now.
They got to win this game. There's no doubt about that. It's a must win. Speaking of must win, let's move on to this one. This one's interesting. 0-3 versus 0-3. I mean, Texans, I think, are better than what we've seen here. But again, let's give the Texans some credit. Who'd they play? They played like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and KC. I mean, finally, it eases up a little bit on them versus the Vikings. But Vikings, a very, very desperate team. And then you got to say Cousins versus Watson. I'm going to give it to Watson. Running game, I think David Johnson is better than Dalvin Cook. People will disagree. He's an all-around better back. He's just not getting the opportunity. He's not. People think I'm crazy. How is David Johnson better than Cook? He's a far superior running back. People just don't know it because he's playing some tough defense. We're going to see who's better this week.
Yeah, this game, well, they were talking about moving this game to Monday or Tuesday possibly, or to the bye week because of some COVID issues, I think, with Minnesota. But as of yesterday, I talked to somebody, I think it was in Houston, and it was still on for Sunday, as is the Pittsburgh Titans game. But this is a game where, listen, I've talked to some people around the league. Deshaun Watson, and you're starting to see who he is. Forget about his contract, even though he's getting paid as an elite quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback right now. He's not coming out there and leading this team, winning the game. I know you can blame the coaching, the play calling, the roster. You can blame a lot of things. They have a horrible secondary. Even the guys like Justin Reed that usually plays better hasn't played well. They have not played well on defense, but Deshaun Watson has not stepped up to be the leader of this team. And then the play calling, I mean, they're not, there's no no identity in the running game. It's a mess in Houston right now. And they're a good football team. They played Pittsburgh, like you said, Baltimore, Kansas City, 8-1 combined. And that one loss came from Baltimore against Kansas City. So it's, Minnesota, I think Houston takes this game because they're better than Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, what does he have, like 6 interceptions this season or something like that?
Crazy.
He's not playing well. I know your boy, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I love him.
He stepped up. Rookie wide receiver. Can he keep it up?
I don't know. That's the thing. That's what we're looking for. Either way, I've got him stashed on my bench, so I hope he does well. I'm going to start him this week. I think he's got a pretty good matchup against the Texans. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Again, I don't know if I'm sold on Texans being 0-3. I think that it's a must win. I think the Texans pull this out. Yeah, I don't see any odds available for this one. I think it's because of the pandemic thing. So I'm not seeing anything here. So I would say Texans are going to be the favorite on this one.
Probably by like 3 points.
This one, I'm all over. I mean, Seattle and Miami. Seattle only a 6.5 point favorite. I think this is going to be a blowout. Are you kidding me right now? Or is this one of those ones that's like, it surprises you and they come back and Miami actually wins this game? It's one of those, it could be a blowout or an upset. What do you think of this one?
I don't know. Seattle's flying across the country. I mean, they're putting up 30-something points a game, right? What are they putting up? 35 a game? Something like that.
They're crushing. Russell Wilson is absolutely on fire. Metcalf, Lockett, they're firing on all cylinders.
Miami, I mean, they're coming off a big win on Thursday night, but they still stink in my mind. I Seattle all the way. I don't think this is going to be my lock of the week, my free money of the week, but you have to take the Seahawks. I mean, Russell Wilson's on fire. Their defense does concern me. Jamal Adams is out again. I think he's out, right, with a groin injury.
Yeah.
And their defense hasn't been the best. They've let up, 30 points last week, 30 points to the Patriots, 31 last week, 30 to the Patriots. So they play 2 good teams. The Patriots and the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are good, but they can score. They can throw the ball. They can score points. So, let's see if they make a statement win here.
All right. Yeah, I think, man, it should be a blowout here, unless Miami pulls something out of their ass, which I don't see.
So,
All right, Chargers versus the Bucks. I mean, Herbert probably not showing, like, he kind of came back down to reality, not looking that good a past game or so. And then Brady seems to be getting into his groove now. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the favorite here. They came out last week, smashed the Broncos 28-10. And I'm not sold on Herbert now. I'm doubting him. He didn't do much with Carolina last week. I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting. And Leonard Fournette, from a fantasy perspective, pissed off a lot of people because he came out and had a phenomenal week 2 and crapped the bed in week 3. He was my suck of the week at running back. So who's their running back? What's going on? Who's their wide receiver? Godwin's supposed to be at week 4. So it could be a Mike Evans show. But again, he's against a tougher secondary with the Chargers. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, I think this matchup is all Tampa Bay all day. It's just when you're looking at it, right? You look at who you said, the rookie, Justin Herbert. I mean, the kid had a chance to win it. It's like he still threw for what, over 300 yards, 311 yards, I think.
Yeah,
But
the drive at the end didn't look good.
they're throwing 5-yard passes. That's not his fault. Like they need. I think the coaching staff doesn't really think he's ready. Obviously, they've said that, but they have handcuffs on him. Like you got under a minute or 2 left. Why are you not taking shots down the field? I mean, do they not think, I don't care if he can or can't do it. You're not going to win taking 5-7 yard passes down the field.
I know.
I think the coaching, I mean, I think the coaching there is horrible. I think they need to get fired, clean house there, as in a couple other places now. I just think I don't like it, man. And I think it's unfair to label Leonard Fournette. He only had 7 attempts last week. That's not his fault for getting 7 attempts. I think this is just like Mike McCarthy in Dallas. Bruce Arians throws the ball. He throws the ball, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. In this football game, they won easy and they spread the ball around, right? I mean, was it like 8 or 9 players got at least 2 receptions on Tampa? Mike Evans, he got his 2 touchdowns, right? Only 2 for 2 and 2 touchdowns. But I told you he's gonna love Mike Evans in that end zone, the big target. And I think just Tampa runs beats them up. I don't want to say
Scotty Miller is so annoying. 5 targets. He out-targeted Evans. Scotty Miller. Like, who the hell is that guy?
That Brady. He goes to the guys that he just has a rapport, feels like he has a rapport with. Maybe him and Scotty Miller will work it all off season. Maybe, but here's the thing that people don't look at. Godwin played last week, who's out this week, most likely, right?
Yeah.
I think he's out. Evans was there. And then you have the 2 tight ends. Gronk finally got 6 catches. But if you have all these guys on the team, who's going to be the open man? You're going to double Godwin before you double Scotty Miller. You're going to double Evans before you double Scotty Miller. So Scotty Miller might just be open. He might have the best, or he might have the weakest link on D on him. You see what I'm saying? So, like, when you got a bunch of good players around you, who do you go to? You go to the guy who's has the worst defensive player on him or has no coverage on him, who's the open man. And
Arians is full of crap. Arians is full of crap. He said Ronald Jones is our guy, and then he brings in McCoy and he brings.
McCoy shouldn't be on this team. You got McCoy, you got Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson. I mean, these guys. I don't know why teams.
Time to move on. Time to move on from these guys, honestly. And then they come out and say that Gronkowski is not a pass catching tight end, and then he gets the most targets.
I think he was joking, but Arians. I don't know. I don't say he's not handling. I mean, the media is a little different when Brady's involved, I think. But hey, it is what it is. You're paying Gronk what, $10 million this year, not to block. We all know that. Come on, that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I don't like the lying. All right, so this is an interesting one. I don't see the odds available for this one because Tennessee under a situation with the disease here. Tennessee and Pittsburgh. What's going on with this game? Do you think the game's going to happen?
I think they just said it's on as scheduled.
Okay.
But you're starting to see it. I think they canceled the college game. I mean, they've canceled a few college games, but I think Notre Dame, the whole team, like a lot of players got infested, whatever. And I don't know. In this game, I think it's going to go on. That's what they said. I know, like Minnesota and Houston's going on. They were more worried about Minnesota not practicing all week.
Yeah.
But I think this game they were worried about the Titans players who have been infected, right?
Yeah.
So on paper, this could be the game of the week, right? 3-0, 2 first place teams. I mean, we really want to see the Steelers play the Ravens, right? to see in this division. The Titans, I told you, I'm still not a believer in them being like a phenomenal team. All close games. Listen, I know they're a tough team. I know you have a man crush on Tannehill.
Yeah.
I still don't. I don't care. I mean, I don't know, man.
They're proving you wrong, Santanello. Right?
Hey, nobody's right all the time, but I will tell you, I think the Texans will come back strong in this division. And, all it takes is the Texans to beat them twice and them to lose. You know how football, it's a long season. But who do you got in this game?
I definitely think the Steelers could pull it out. But I think, again, the Titans are one of those teams that like squeak out wins. I think they're kind of like, I think they're just a little bit better than the Bears. I think they're just one of those teams that like can get to the playoffs, but they're anticlimactic, basically. They'll get there, but they don't have enough juice to finish it. They're not like high octane, let's say like the Chiefs, or I mean nobody is, but you know what I'm saying. Like I think they'll just get it done. They're like the little engine that could. They're just like they'll putt along and then they'll stop.
And Derrick Henry really hasn't taken off this year.
Really.
Giving him the ball a lot. I think he's got the ball like 80 times in 3 games or something, right?
Yeah, he's got the ball a lot. I mean, if you look at last game, I'm going to pull it up here.
83 maybe or something. 31, 26, 26 maybe.
Like he had 26 attempts last game. I mean, that is insane. 82 attempts. The entire season, 82 attempts, averaging 3.9 yards per carry. It's not good.
No, but that's the offense. Give him the ball, take the guys in the box, let Tannehill get one-on-one coverage, and just let him make the throw. And they have a tough defense, and like you said, they eke out the wins, and that's what good teams do. Though, like they'll eke out the close games, and they are well coached. I do like the coaching there. They picked up Clowney. I'm not a Clowney fan, but I mean, listen, he's a good player. I think he's overpaid. Be overpaid. Let's forget about that, but. They're still a tough football team. But I think they're more like 9-7, 10-6. And Steelers have a really good defense. And this is the year of the offense, as you can see, right? Yep. How many teams really can say the Steelers are a true balanced football team? They're not going to, I don't think they can score 35, 42, 45 a game and get in shootouts. I don't think they can at all. But I think they need to have a balanced attack on offense. Roethlisberger, a veteran quarterback, spreading the ball around, and their defense is, going to be key, especially when they play the Ravens. They have a good defense, and they haven't had this. Last year they had a good defense, but usually it's their offense we're talking about for the past 5-7 years.
Right. All right, let's move on from that game. Let's go to the Baltimore Ravens versus Washington. I mean, Lamar did not look like himself. That was one of his worst passing games of all time for him anyway. 13.5 point favorite over Washington football team. That's a little inflated if you ask me. I mean, you're almost tempted to take the points with Washington, with Baltimore coming off that rough game. I mean, I don't know. I guess they're assuming that Baltimore's defense is pissed off coming off that loss. They're going to get stuff together and come back angry against Washington. That's why it's they're a 13.5 point favorite on the road, which is a little shocking. What are your thoughts on that game?
I mean, I think they're also looking the fact that they played the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs are the best team in football.
Right.
So, the Chiefs won that game by 2 scores, but they should have won it by more. Listen, they didn't let them hang in the game, but they let them stay within 2 touchdowns, which I thought they could have put it away a little bit more. I know they missed a field goal at the end of the half and stuff like that. But the Ravens, this is time. I said this to you in the playoffs. Remember, Lamar Jackson doesn't bode well coming back, throwing the ball. I told you they don't have the talent at wide receiver. Mark Andrews didn't look that great. I mean, some of the throws weren't on target. He didn't have his best game. And he's a really good tight end. He's a good tight end. And this is the other thing we spoke about, Joe, and I don't know if you remember this. They don't have an identity in the running game.
No.
About Lamar running the football, I told you can't count on that in big games.
And then Gus. Why is Gus getting the ball? You've got the young Dobbins. They're not giving him the ball enough.
He played too. He just didn't get the ball.
No.
Ingram, we said this before. Ingram, he's on the last 9, the last 2.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they have that 3-headed, I'm not calling it a monster, that 3-headed running back committee, Dobbins and Edwards. But last week, though, they played good. They had like 230 yards, right? But nobody really had more than 9 carries, 10 carries. I think they need to get a feature running back. I say give it to Dobbins, give him the ball 20 times a game, and just roll with it. I told you I thought he'd take the job by week 8, but they need to give him the ball. And Lamar, I think, had 9 carries. He didn't play well. He doesn't play well coming from behind.
The same frustration that people are feeling. That's why I stayed away from this committee, because Lamar runs it on his own. The same feeling we were feeling here, we're seeing it with the Bears. They're running Cordell Patterson. Patterson's a wide receiver. Why is he running as a running back? They just won't stick with Montgomery. And now, back against the wall, you have no choice. You have to play David Montgomery now. There's no more Tariq Cohen. And they tried all these stupid gadget plays with Tariq Cohen. Good riddance, he's gone. Like I said, I can't wait to see Montgomery. Now, he does have a tougher matchup this week. It's not going to be easy against the Colts, but I want to see Montgomery get the ball more. And I was annoyed that he wasn't. And same with these guys.
Yeah. Now, what about Lamar though? This year, I mean, he still has 5 touchdown passes on the year, but he's, it's only 3 games. I don't want to, go too much into it, but fantasy wise, he hasn't been the projected.
No, he's sitting 12th right now amongst fantasy quarterbacks, which isn't good at all. I mean, it's 59 points. I mean, that's not good, So, I mean, he was being drafted in the second round. I said, stay away. There's so much better talent later. Not necessarily better talent, but better value. I mean, Josh Allen, I'm getting in the 6th round. Russell Wilson, right? They're the top 2 quarterbacks.
Matt Ryan, he's not winning, but he's putting up points, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got Matt Ryan in all my leagues. And he didn't have the greatest game last week, but he's still top 8 right now. And I got him in the 7th round. So, I mean, you can get a ton of value at these guys. Even Burrow, right? Nobody drafted him. He's the top 10 right now. So, you always wait.
What about in Washington? Something interesting. And I know he finally came out and said something, Rivera, that he's sticking another week with Haskins. Remember we said before, and I told you, be careful about they traded for Kyle Allen. That's his guy from Carolina. And Alex Smith. We don't know if Alex Smith is how rusty he's going to be when he comes back, or how healthy, or if it's mental. We don't know. But Haskins, this isn't his job for much longer.
I don't think so.
I mean, it can't be. Right?
You got to win football games, and being 1-2 isn't going to do it. Now you've got the Ravens, so you're definitely going to go down 1-3. I don't think that's a good
13.5 points, though. I mean, that's a big spread.
It is a big spread, but I mean, they're angry. They're angry. Ravens are angry. I'm telling you. All right, next matchup here. Let's not waste too much time on this. The New York Giants, who are an absolute disaster, versus the Rams. The Rams should take it out. This is an extreme spread, 12.5 points for the Rams, who are 2-1 versus the 0-3 Giants. But again, Giants don't really have much of an offense. I mean, Ingram's been looking like crap, can't catch the ball. They've got no run game. I mean, Freeman was acquired, but they didn't give him the ball. I mean, maybe why? I guess
no.
What's that?
Devontae Freeman. Where is he?
I think he only got like a couple carries. He didn't get the ball. I didn't start him. I picked him up off waiver because of Saquon, but he just didn't get the volume. I don't understand why. They should give the ball to Freeman. I think he's the best, most talented running back on that team. Deion Lewis actually ended up getting it. Yeah, so Wayne Gallman is the top guy. Wayne Gallman, 4 attempts. Listen to this. 4 attempts, 7 yards, 1.8 yards per carry for 1.4 fantasy points. And Freeman only got the ball 5 attempts, but he only averaged 2 yards per carry. I mean, that O-line is atrocious. It's terrible.
Yeah, I told you that, Joe, but I also listen, give Freeman a break because of the O-line. And also he hasn't practiced or hasn't played. And he doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know shit. So what are you going to do? I mean, I would go with somebody young who's got some promise. I don't know whether they bring Freeman in there. It doesn't make sense. Maybe they thought, I mean, listen, you're in the NFC East. I guess anybody can win the freaking division. But the Rams had the comeback last week. I mean, they came back to take the lead. Are the Rams for real? To me, the Rams look like a tier 2, tier 3 playoff team right now. And I want to see them play Seattle. That's the matchup I'm looking forward to. But to go to this matchup and not spend a lot of time on it, we said it. Giants are horrible, but it just strikes me how these GMs can build a roster that is so bad. How do you build a roster so bad?
Get a wide receiver. I mean, what did they do? They got a couple O-line guys. They haven't done anything right in the draft.
Wrong players, even the big signings he's had, they're terrible. Their defense isn't good. Their first round pick from last year, who's always had character concerns, they released him. Remember, he had that robbery, the gambling game or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Giants are Danny Jones. I mean, listen, the Giants, the Jets. I mean, they may end up with the first pick, and then you have to take Trevor Lawrence, and you have 2 top 5 quarterbacks that were just picked in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
But these 2 teams, maybe it's Washington, I don't know, look like the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah, right? Jets, Washington, Giants. I'd probably go.
You know who the number 1 pick is? Probably Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Yeah. I mean, you have to take him. I mean, Daniel Jones isn't doing that much. So You got a terrible, terrible team right here in New York.
Yeah, let's move on here. This is going to be a good one here. I don't know if the Patriots are real. Another team that I don't know if I'm sold on. 2-1. Obviously, they got the coaching with Belichick. We got Cam Newton, who's got the potential. I think the receivers are a little bit suspects here. And then they're playing the Chiefs at home. Chiefs a 7-point favorite here. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. But again, if the Chiefs keep raining points, but I think defensively, I think the Patriots can keep them in the game, can keep Cam in this game defensively. Don't you think?
Well, Belichick is smart. They don't just have a good defense. He's gonna whip up a game plan. Remember, he beat the Chiefs 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl against I think it was against the Rams, right? He beat them, and that was the AFC Championship game, just barely, but he beat them.
Right.
If you're gonna put your money on anybody, you put it on Belichick 100%. And I think
Exactly.
chip on his shoulder this year. I mean, he does every year, but I don't know, man. Kansas City's defense, first of all, is not that good. It's good, but it's not that good. It's not great. We spoke about it last week. I told you Chris Jones would be a factor, and he was. He's really good in the middle there. I think New England, I mean, this is another one. I hate to skip, fast forward, but I'm looking forward to the Patriots-Bills to see who's really winning this division in the AFC East. I still think Kansas City's the best team, but I can see them losing this game to New England. It's on the road. New England plays at Seattle. Then they got the Raiders at home. Now they got this one. Tough schedule for them too.
Right. This is going to be one I'll be watching, and I like that the two matchups that I really like this week, which are the Patriots and the Chiefs, which is this one, and the Bills and the Raiders. I think that's going to be a good one as well, both at 4:00. So I'll be basically watching both those at the same time. And it's nice that you have the Giants and the Rams, which I will be basically watching to see the blowout there. So yeah, Bills and Raiders. Talk about
4:00 games. They have last week. They had 5. Now they have 3 4:00 games. They can just spread it out a little more.
And I'm telling you guys, enjoy the 4:00 games because the Sunday nighter, it's going to be a sleepy one. Although I will be on making fun of Carson Wentz on my Insta. I will tell you that much. So let's talk about the Bills and Raiders. Then we got 2 more matchups. I mean, this one's going to be good. Bills 3-point favorite. I think the Raiders, Jacobs, they got to get him involved more. It is a bit of a disaster in regards to who the wide receiver is there. I don't know who the wide receiver is there. Waller was supposed to be the guy. He's been a prime target. He literally crapped the bed. Like he didn't get, he sucked. There's people are really, because a lot of people start Waller as their guy, Tom, and he didn't do anything. So
yeah,
they're a disaster. I think Derek Carr sucks. I think he's another guy that's got to go.
He's playing good in this offense, though. They played the Patriots. Hunter Renfrow stepped up with a couple really big plays last week.
Yeah.
I told you he's gonna start to be a good target for Carr. I said that earlier, and he will. But I don't think Hunter Renfrow's elite by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's gonna be that guy that's gonna get some good catches. He will. Ruggs. Where's Ruggs? Hurt, and he seems like a guy that'll be hurt often. I hate to say that. Yeah. I just see that. They got the rookie out of South Carolina. He's hurt. You're right. They just, man, if only Antonio Brown worked out there, I think this team would be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
They're missing a guy like that, kind of like what you just said. He doesn't have his go-to guy. I know you said, we said Watson's the type of guy that, and this is how quarterback's not elite like Carr. He needs his go-to guy. You look at a lot of great quarterbacks like Mahomes, Brady. They don't need a go-to guy, right? But when I feel like Carr's the type of guy that will need that go-to guy eventually, right. And he's trying to make that the tight end over here. Josh Allen, and I mean, listen, and they almost blew the lead, but I respect 3. I told you it's an important year for him. Is he a top 5 player in the league right now?
I hope so, because I got his rookie card. I got his signed rookie card. I hope he breaks out and has the biggest year of his life.
More than Russell Wilson's. But I mean, honestly, he's an MVP. I know Russell Wilson's doing better, but Josh Allen is, after 3 weeks, I hate to say it, but an MVP candidate. Look at what he's done. It's amazing. And I still think still need to see more from him against the better defenses and pocket presence, but he's impressed me so far. I mean, I have to take the Bills, even though I think this is going to be a good football game.
Let's see how he stacks up. He is number 2 in passing yards right now. Josh Allen.
Singletary got the full load last week. I think they should stick with him moving forward, don't you?
Yeah, I think Singletary is the better back. Moss, I don't know. He hasn't proven us that he's done much. But listen to this: Josh Allen right now. Okay, he is number 2 in passing yards. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Number 2 in touchdown passes. Only second to Russell Wilson, who has 14. And Russell Wilson, they're already talking he's MVP candidate. That's really good. When you look at rushing attempts, he is number 4. So he's not only getting it done in the air, he's also doing it on the ground. So he is all around just getting it done. And when you look at passing attempts, you want to see him pass more. He is 6th in passing attempts. Again, still not bad. Being 6th in passing attempts and still getting it done on the ground is pretty impressive. I like Josh Allen so far, especially for fantasy, and I've got him.
He stepped it back on the ground last week, right? I think he's starting to learn that he can't do that, as much. And he's turning into listen, I don't care what you say. Let's forget about it for a second. He needs to make amends in the playoffs. That's where he needs to do it after the collapse. But he looks a lot better of a player this year, and he looks more of a leader. I like the kid's leadership. I really, really do. I was questioning the Stephon Diggs connection, but hey, it's been working. I didn't know if it would work, but to me, this is what Diggs wanted. He was on a winning team in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And now he seems like, I know he didn't do as well last week as the first 2 weeks, but he seems like the man over there, and they have a good rapport. I'm impressed in Buffalo. I think they have one. This is how you have a good GM. Look at their roster. I mean, they just have a great roster. They have great coaching, everything's good there.
Everything's good. I like them. Let's move on here. Philly versus San Fran. Again, San Fran 7-point favorite, crippled team. Carson Wentz, man. I mean, he hasn't won a game yet. Mr. $128 million has done nothing. And this is a guy that I hated that deal. I despised it. It was the biggest waste. Proven. Well, you just pay this guy 128. I just want to piss out $128 million on a guy I don't know. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, I told you this before, another bad GM work the last few years. They have no depth. Their roster stinks. A lot of injuries. I understand it. But they don't look good. They're not being coached well. Their defense isn't being coached well by Schwartz right now. The Niners, Nick Mullins, he played okay his rookie year when he got in those few games. He actually, he was a rookie, I think he was late round rookie, and he played okay. He's a good backup quarterback, and that's why they kept him. And I'm taking San Francisco in this one. I mean, I have to.
Isn't it crazy though? You have a team that just won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they fall down. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. It's crazy, man. How fast things can happen.
I think you look at a couple things. Their roster was never that good that year.
No,
but they played so well together. It was like a magical season. I mean, Foles had the season of his life. And then what happened after that? They lose their run. I mean, everything came together for them, and they played well as a team. It was magical. It really was in Philadelphia. So, but every year they get worse, right? Remember the next year they went to the playoffs. I think Foles started the season, was horrible. Wentz came in, and Foles finished it in the playoffs. They won a game or two in the playoffs. Then they stunk. Well, the last year they stunk, right? They couldn't even get in the playoffs. They're worse this year. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. You remember Howie Roseman lost his job to Chip Kelly. Remember that?
Right.
A few years back. And then Chip Kelly loses a job back to Howie Roseman. So, they've never always believed in the GM there, and it shows. He's made some bad trades. He's taken chances, though, and I give him credit. The drafts have not worked out well in Philadelphia. And, Joe, I see them getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I don't see them getting any better here. So I'm watching that game to laugh at Carson Wentz and the $128 million that they wasted. So I'll be pushing up for that. And the Monday Nighter, I am excited about this one because I really want to focus on Gurley. This is what I'm going to be ripping into. I've already tagged Gurley on my Instagram post. This is pretty disgusting what's going on, how they're running Ito Smith and Brian Hill. And it's funny because they're throwing balls to these guys and they're dropping. They've got concrete for hands, these running backs. You've got Todd Gurley. Use him. I don't care how banged up he is, if his arthritis is acting up, if he's putting makeup and cover up on the side, if he's powdering his nose. I don't care. Get him on the field. He needs to be on the field, Tom. This is unacceptable what's happening right now.
Listen, I think you got to look at where this all starts, and that's with the head coaching, and it's in the offensive coordinator is horrible. It was a Dirk Cutter there. Dan Quinn. I mean, Dan Quinn is one of the most liked coaches since, when he was at Florida, when he was in Seattle, and people love him. That's the only reason why he hasn't gotten fired yet. I mean, the owner really likes him. I mean, I just know, and it sucks because they need to clear house.
Yeah.
Everything's a disaster here. I've never seen, and they have talent on offense. And you start to see, like, do they miss, Julio Jones? Calvin Ridley's turning into a one, and they have, the talent
Yeah.
on offense. Their defense is horrible. It's really bad. And the coaching is really bad. They have to make a coaching change. I mean, they have to do it. I mean, Todd Gurley, that's a tough one, man. You blame him or you blame the coaching over there? I mean,
Everyone's saying blame the coaching because I think he's not making the decision to come off the field, right? It's not him; it's the design plays, correct?
yeah, it's the design plays, but he's also not. He's not playing to what he usually does, right? Like he doesn't look like he did a few years ago, that's for sure. But like how bad does he look? I didn't watch a lot of the game last week. I saw it in the fourth quarter, but he only had 14 carries and he did have 80 yards. So like, that's not a bad game, but they're just throwing. I mean,
Touchdown. It was a touchdown that kind of inflated his numbers, but I'm looking at the stats. I'm just not seeing the volume again. I don't think they should be giving the ball to Ito Smith. I mean, Ito Smith has no business being. They're working here's what I was seeing. They're working the ball up the field with guys like Ito Smith and Brian Hill. Now, Brian Hill, in his respect, out of respect, did to him, he did have one breakout run for a touchdown. But when they're at the 20-yard line, they get the kickoff. They're bringing in on the first down. They're bringing in Brian Hill and Ito Smith. Why? And then they're bringing in Gurley when they start getting close to the red zone. They bring him in a little bit, but then they swap them out with Brian Hill again. Like,
I don't know if they're trying to protect him or they worried about him.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're trying to limit his workload because you're right. When you're up, 20 points, 20 something points, 16.
That's what they're thinking. They're thinking they can sit on this lead. We're up 20 points. Let's preserve Todd Gurley. But they're not realizing they're losing because they're pitching him.
But you can't play like that. You need to give him the ball and run the clock down when you're up.
They're not. They're throwing. They're up 40 points and they're throwing.
What did the Bears score? 20 points in the fourth quarter?
They're crazy. Yeah.
20 points. 20 points, man. I mean, how do you lose that lead? Granted, if you're up 16 points, that's 2 touchdowns and 2. I get shit happens, right? But this isn't just, shit happens. This is horrible coaching, horrible offensive coordinator.
That's terrible.
Listen, I'm not going to blame Gurley for this one. You can't blame him for this one. They need to, I don't know. Like, see, this is what the Buccaneers did last week. They didn't throw the ball 2 weeks ago. They gave the ball to Leonard Fournette, and then they upped the lead. He just marched him down the field, scored a touchdown. Got your hopes up for nothing. But, I said it before. Listen, this is, I don't know, ownership. He's not good over here. He needed to clear house last season, and it just didn't happen.
But it's a must-win game.
Matt Ryan, go back to Matt Ryan for a second. Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, how good are these quarterbacks? They're like, this still has to come down to the quarterback sometime too. You don't see
Ryan's better than Stafford.
Okay, but you don't see Tom Brady blowing leads like this. They both blew leads to the Bears, Matt Ryan and Matt Stafford this year. You will not see these marquee quarterbacks blowing big leads.
Right.
How many times do you see that?
Terrible game management. Terrible.
But Matt Ryan has never won a Super Bowl. Matt Stafford has he even been in the playoffs. I mean, these quarterbacks you're talking about Wentz making $128 million. How much have these two guys made to not do? I understand Falcons went to the Super Bowl one time, but I just don't see the, I don't see the love affair with these guys that don't win.
And then again, in respect to a couple of these guys, I mean, Ryan, you're right. I mean, a lot of his talent is based, or his success is predicated on he's actually got weapons, right? Where
he's got 2 ones.
I know. Whereas like Wentz, what does he have? You know what I mean? Like, what is some of these? Like, what is Stafford? Stafford has Galladay, but he's been banged up. Even
true, but also Calvin Ridley is going to get paid. He's playing like a $15-20 million a year receiver right now.
He's amazing.
Legit. I mean, he's really good. And we said that before the year. Julio, you can't get rid of Julio, but like it's hard having 2 like top tier number ones. And I don't think they can pay them both. They have no defense. They need to pay defensive players, and they didn't pay a lot for Gurley. They got him on a 1-year deal, but you talk about Matt Stafford not having the weapons, the coaching there, I guess you can say some stuff. But they're a tough team. But see, Detroit is a tougher team, it seems, than Atlanta. Atlanta seems like a bunch of pussies for some reason. they just, I don't know. There's just something off about them. Right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea. They need some serious help, and they need to win this game.
Yeah, like there's no attitude on that team. Like, you know how they used to be the Dirty Birds or something. There's no attitude there. Like they don't have the tenacity. Matt
Right.
Ryan doesn't have like the killer, I'm gonna go win this game for us. Like he just doesn't have it.
They do, yeah, they look deflated or something like that, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
There's
mean, yeah, yeah. And I honestly I think it's gonna be a good football game, right? This
yeah.
is a Monday night game. I'm gonna watch this game. The Packers. We didn't even talk about the Packers. We're talking about the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna probably torch them.
Their defense, I mean, come on. He put up what 37 against the Saints. He put up over 30
Yeah.
points a week so far, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how much he scored against the Seahawks week 1, but they lost that game, right? But I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a Green Bay game in Green Bay Monday night. And I think they win this game. I don't think Atlanta puts a lot of points on the board this game. I don't love Green Bay's defense, but Aaron Jones, a respectable week last week, nothing major.
Is Adams going to be back? Is he going to be 100%? Lazard looking good.
Lazard replaced him. Another replacement. Ridley replaced Julio. Lazard replaced Adams. Adams, like I told you this, and people don't agree. What has Adams done as his entire career?
He had one good season a couple years ago.
He's a good player, but one good season out of what, 5? I mean, you got to stop giving these guys the throne when they haven't had it. He has had 1,000-yard season in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. This is his 7th year.
Right.
Like 1,000, and it was almost 1,400 yards. I get it, but he's not as great as people say he is. Same with Allen Robinson. I said that before.
Well, that's a product of the quarterbacks. They've got great quarterbacks throwing to them, so that really helps the receivers, right?
But look at guys like Edelman. People say that's a product of the system. What do you have, 170 yards last week? Something like that. I mean, he's good, but everyone said like Wes Welker, Edelman, they're a product of Brady and the system. Right. Maybe sometimes it is, right?
Right.
You need to have a good system. You need to have a good quarterback. You need to have good players around you. If you have no line, what happens? You're going to see, what happens when you have no offensive line? You don't have time to throw the ball. But then again, what if you have a great offensive line? A lot of quarterbacks can sit there if they have, several seconds to throw and find the open man, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's football. You just, there's a lot of factors. There's, 11 guys on offense at one time. So it's a team game.
I'll be watching this game. Let's put it this way. I've got Gurley in my leagues. He's got to step it up this week. Yeah, that's just the bottom line. I don't know what to tell you. Gurley's got to step it up or they will hear it on social media from the counselor. The counselor will not relent this Monday. It's a must win. Atlanta's got to win. They've got to win this game. So 7.5 point favorite. You got to take Atlanta to win this game. If they don't win this game, piss on them. Piss on them. You got to win. You can't go 0-4. You can't go 0-4 and you've got all this talent. You can't do it.
Any change to your top 3 power ranking?
Man, it's gotta be, Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs, Seattle, and I'm gonna go potentially Pittsburgh. I don't know if I'm sold on the Ravens. I know they played KC, but they could have played them a little tougher.
Patriots. I mean, they played Seattle to the wire. Are they number 3? I know they lost the game, but hey, we get that. Pittsburgh, I don't think they're in top 3. They don't have. I don't think they're elite. I think
so. I think they could do it. I think they're sneaky good.
Who do you put ahead, the Ravens or the Patriots?
Oh, man, I'm going to go probably Ravens.
Really?
I don't know. Probably Ravens. They got to get their running game together, though. That's what we talked about it,
I mean, the 49ers are sneaky and the Rams and the Bills because the 49ers aren't at full strength, but they looked impressive.
Right.
Still think you can't sleep on them, but you can't have them top 5 right now. Then you have the Bills. I'm telling you, I want to see the Bills Patriots. I want to see if the Bills can finally beat them. Don't you?
Yeah, man. I think it's about time. I mean, without Brady being there, I think this could be the year they could finally do it. I mean, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. And then the Rams looked good. I don't think they're top 5. I think they're top 10 right now, though. And I think we're going to have, we'll see. The Packers, I mean, you can't discount them either because they
true.
They lost to the Seahawks. So that's second tier. I mean, you got the Chiefs and you really got the Seattle, then you got everybody else. But listen, Seattle's defense hasn't been showing up either.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's going to be a fun season.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, thanks, Tom. Let's just wrap this up here. Appreciate you as per usual. So we'll come back next week, do week 5 preview. We wanted to get the week 4 preview out. Man, what game are you more excited about before we wrap this up?
I mean, obviously the Patriots Chiefs. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say I'm looking forward to Atlanta and Green Bay just because I have stock in Todd Gurley and Lazard and guys like that. There's a lot of fantasy relevance for me in that game, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Really?
Yeah, I think Atlanta's got to win with their back against the wall. This is it. You can't lose this week.
What about New Orleans? They're 1-2. I mean,
I hate Drew Brees. He's one of those guys I dislike. Just like
you know,
I dislike Drew Brees. I hate his little twitch thing he's got going on every play. He just does his shoulder shrug.
He doesn't look good. He doesn't
every play. It's this, and then when Taysom Hill comes out, it's like you're the quarterback. Stay on the field.
Yeah, I don't
Taysom Hill for.
I don't know why they do that. I mean,
like Tim Tebow. Remember when Tim Tebow used to come out for those like special design plays? Come out, he'd run for 1 yard, and go, yeah. It's like, come on, man, just keep your quarterback on the field.
Yeah, it's catching up to them, that stuff this year. And they were trying to lean a little more on their defense, but I know the defense didn't play well last week or the week before against the Raiders. So I think you got some good football teams this year, though, that can beat anybody. Like even the Raiders look like they can. There's a lot of teams out there that can compete. Even Dallas looks like they can compete. I don't know how good they are. I mean, the Titans, the Steelers, Tampa Bay. I mean, they're going to get better as the season goes along, and they have a good defense. So, but they'll play the Chargers this week, another patsy.
I just got breaking news here that the NFL is postponing Sunday's game between the Steelers and the Titans. I don't have any other further information on it, but that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, they did go through with that.
Yeah, they're going to be postponing it. Yep.
Yeah, Titans had 5 players test positive and not like 9 no, I forgot. Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. So that game, that was going to be a good football game too.
Yep.
You have good football games that aren't going to be exciting. Even the Jaguars, Bengals, the Browns, Cowboys, like Vikings, Texans. Those are good games. There's a lot on stake. Right now, right? Saints, Lions. I mean, what if the Saints go, like I said, 1-3?
Yep.
I mean, it's, Philadelphia, 49ers. There's so many games that are going to be, I mean, the Jets and the Broncos, somebody will get a win.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody's going to get a victory.
Somebody's got to win that one. So the Jets might get a freebie if they play their cards right. Not a freebie, but it'd be easier,
The Broncos, the Jets look like the worst team I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Thanks for being here, man. Guys, week 4 NFL preview, not highlights, but preview. Yeah. Preview matchups, everything. Breakdown here for you guys every Wednesday. Make sure you tune in. Smash thumbs up and leave some of your fantasy questions below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks, guys, for being here. Tom, we'll talk soon. Have a great week.